Warning: the SCP Foundation database is classified. Access by unauthorized personnel is strictly prohibited. Perpetrators will be tracked, located, and detained.
Item Number: SCP-096. Object Class: Euclid. Special Containment Procedures: SCP-096 is to be contained in its cell, a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter airtight steel cube, at all times. Weekly checks for any cracks or holes are mandatory. There are to be absolutely no video surveillance or optical tools of any kind inside SCP-096's cell. Security personnel will use pre-installed pressure sensors and laser detectors to ensure SCP-096's presence inside the cell. Any and all photos, video, or recordings of SCP-096's likeness are strictly forbidden without approval from Dr.
Redacted.
And 05.
Redacted.
Description: SCP-096 is a humanoid creature measuring approximately 2.38 meters in height. Subject shows very little muscle mass, with preliminary analysis of body mass suggesting mild malnutrition. Arms are grossly out of proportion with the rest of the subject's body, with an approximate length of 1.5 meters each. Skin is mostly devoid of pigmentation, with no sign of any body hair. SCP-096's jaw can open to 4 times the norm of an average human. Other facial features remain similar to an average human, with the exception of the eyes, which are also devoid of pigmentation. It is not yet known whether SCP-096 is blind or not. It shows no signs of any higher brain functions, and is not considered to be sapient. SCP-096 is normally extremely docile, with pressure sensors inside its cell indicating it spends most of the day pacing by the eastern wall. However, when someone views SCP-096's face, whether it be directly, via video recording, or even a photograph, it will enter a stage of considerable emotional distress. SCP-096 will cover its face with its hands and begin screaming, crying, and babbling incoherently. Approximately 1 to 2 minutes after the first viewing, SCP-096 will begin running to the person who viewed its face, who will from this point on be referred to as SCP-096-1. Documented speeds have varied from 35 km per hour to
Redacted.
100 km per hour, and seems to depend on distance from SCP-096-1. At this point, no known material or method can impede SCP-096's progress. The actual position of SCP-096-1 does not seem to affect SCP-096's response. It seems to have an innate sense of SCP-096-1's location. Note: this reaction does not occur when viewing artistic depictions. See Document 096-1. Upon arriving at SCP-096-1's location, SCP-096 will proceed to kill and
Data expunged.
SCP-096-1. 100% of cases have left no traces of SCP-096-1. SCP-096 will then sit down for several minutes before regaining its composure and becoming docile once again. It will then attempt to make its way back to its natural habitat in
Data redacted.
Due to the possibility of a mass chain reaction, including breach of Foundation secrecy and large civilian loss of life, retrieval of subject should be considered alpha priority. Dr.
Redacted.
has also petitioned for immediate termination of SCP-096. See Interview 096-1. Order is awaiting approval. Update. Termination order has been approved and is to be carried out by Dr.
Redacted.
on
Data redacted.
See Incident 096-1A. Audio log from Interview 096-1. Interviewer. Dr.
Redacted.
Interviewed. Captain.
Redacted.
Retired. Former commander of Retrieval Team Zulu 9 Alpha. Retrieval Incident number 096-1A. Begin log.
It always sucks ass to get initial retrieval duty. You have no idea what the damn thing is capable of, besides what jacked up information the field techies can scrape up, and you're lucky if they even tell you the whole story. They told us to bag and tag. Didn't tell us jack shit about not looking at the damn thing.
Could you describe the mission, please?
Yeah, sorry. We had 2 choppers, one with my team, and one on backup with Zulu 9 Bravo and Dr.
Redacted.
We spotted the target about 2 clicks north of our patrol path. I'm guessing it wasn't facing our direction, else it would have taken us out then and there.
Your report says SCP-096 didn't react to the cold? It was negative
Redacted.
degrees Celsius.
Actually, it was negative.
Redacted.
And yes, it was butt naked and didn't so much as shiver. Anyway, we landed, approached the target, and Corporal
Redacted.
got ready to bag it. That's when Dr.
Redacted.
called. I turned to answer it, and that's what saved me. The target must have turned and my whole squad saw it.
That's when SCP-096 entered an agitated emotional state?
Yep. Oh, sorry. Got the willies for a second.
That's alright.
Yeah, well, I never saw its face. My squad did, and they paid for it up the ass.
Could you describe it a little more, please?
Yeah, it started screaming at us and crying. Not animal roaring, though. Sounded exactly like a person. Really fucking creepy. We started firing when it picked up Corporal
Redacted.
and ripped off his leg. God, he was screaming for our help. Fucking A. Anyway, we were blowing chunks out of the target round after round. Didn't do jack shit. I almost lost it when it started
Data expunged.
shooting him.
That's when you ordered the use of an AT-4 HE-DT launcher?
An anti-tank gun. Started carrying it ever since SCP
Redacted.
got loose. I've seen those tear through tanks like tissue paper. Did the same thing to the target.
There was significant damage to SCP-096?
It didn't even fucking flinch. It kept tearing apart my squad, but with half its torso gone.
But it was taking damage?
If it wasn't showing it. It must have lost all its organs, all its blood, but it didn't acknowledge any of it. Its bone structure wasn't hurt at all, though. It kept tearing my squad apart.
So, no actual structural damage. How many rounds would you say were fired at SCP-096?
At the least, 1,000. Our door gunner kept his GAU-19 on it for at least 20 seconds. 20 fucking seconds. That's 650 caliber rounds pumped into the thing. Might as well been spitting at it.
This is when Zulu 9 Bravo arrived?
Yeah. And my squad was gone. Zulu 9 Bravo managed to get the bag over its head, and it just sat down. We got it into the chopper, and got it here. I don't know how I never saw its face. Maybe God or Buddha or whoever thought I should live. The jackass.
We've obtained an artist's depiction of SCP-096's face. Would you like to view it?
You know, after hearing that thing screams and the screams of my team, I don't think I want to put a face to what I heard. No. Just no.
All right. I believe we are done here. Thank you, Captain. Let this be on record that I am formally requesting SCP-096 be terminated as soon as possible.
End log. The requested documentation is restricted to Level 4/096 clearance. Please input security credentials. Access granted. Document number 096-1 of Experiment 096-1. Experiment 096-1 is headed by Dr. Dan. Purpose is to test SCP-096's abilities while obtaining complete physical description of SCP-096. D-9031 is a 32-year-old convicted felon and former tattoo artist. D-9031 is placed inside Bathysphere 303A, which is then lowered in the Tonga Trench off the coast of New Zealand. Position is approximately
Redacted.
kilometers from SCP-096's temporary containment cell at Site.
Redacted.
The following was recorded via video surveillance inside Bathysphere 303A, between it and Dr. Dan's control site on the New Zealand mainland. Begin log. Bathysphere 303A reaches final depth of 10,800 meters.
It stopped. What now?
Do you feel fine? No sickness? Anything?
My ears hurt.
That should be expected. Now, on your left should be a steel container. Open it, and there will be a manila folder holding several photographs. Open it and describe the first photograph, please.
Nothing. It's an empty cell.
Thank you. Please set this photograph face down in the receptacle to your right, and look at the next photograph.
It's the same cell, but there's a foot in it, I think.
Describe it, please.
It's pale and bony. Sort of creepy, actually.
Place the photograph in the receptacle face down, and look at the next one.
Okay. Oh, shit!
Describe the photograph.
It's I don't know, some creepy-ass person.
Describe the photograph, please.
Hell, man, it's pale, has white eyes, and something fucked up is happening with its mouth. What the hell is this thing?
At this point, approximately 1332 Standard Time, Dr. Dan and Experiment Control is notified that SCP-096 has breached containment. D-9031 is now designated SCP-096-1. The fastest path to SCP-096-1 has been cleared of civilians and other image-capturing devices, and SCP-096 is now being tracked by satellites via tracking collar.
On your right, there should be another steel container. Open it.
It's a pad of paper and a pencil.
Yes. Please draw a sketch of the photograph you saw.
SCP-096-1 spends the next 20 minutes drawing a sketch of the photograph. At the time of completion, SCP-096 is confirmed to be
redacted
100 kilometers away from SCP-096-1.
I'm done.
Good. Place the drawing in the receptacle on your left and close the door.
The sketch leaves Bathysphere 303A in a watertight buoyancy container. The other photographs are then incinerated in the onboard incinerator.
What now?
Please stand by.
40 minutes pass. SCP-096 is now confirmed to be at SCP-096-1's position and is diving. Transponder signal ends at 9,339 meters as pressure goes beyond the device's operational limits.
Doc, how much longer do I gotta be down here? What else I gotta do? Doc, are you there? Fuck! Shit! What the fuck is that? That thing in the picture was here! What the fuck? Shit! Get me out of here! Get me out of here! Doc, help me!
End log. Following Experiment 096-1, SCP-096 is recovered by Surface Recovery Team Foxtrot 303A without incident. Sketch of SCP-096 is also recovered, and a quick test confirms no hostile reaction from SCP-096. Sketch is sent to Experiment Control in New Zealand, while SCP-096 is moved to permanent containment. Incident 096-1A. Begin log. Security footage of Research and Containment Sector 096 on
date redacted
at
time redacted.
Begin log. In the footage, a large steel cube is shown in the middle of a research lab, which is teeming with a dozen or so researchers. In view of the camera is a control booth, displaying readings from the various sensors inside the cube. Security tape is advanced 1 minute 32 seconds.
Report?
Sensors are tripping across the container. It's running around in there. It's been agitated somehow.
Get security on standby. Shit. Get security in here now.
This is Control at Research and Containment Sector.
A steel wall on the containment cube receives a sizable dent bending outward. The dent becomes larger before breaking. SCP-096, its face blurred out in the video as per containment protocol, is seen bending the steel away, frantically trying to escape. 2 security teams enter the room as SCP-096 breaks out of containment. Live rounds and tranquilizer darts are fired to no visible effect. End log.
Approximately 90% of researchers and security personnel had directly viewed SCP-096's face, and a code Lima was declared. The room and surrounding areas were sealed and flushed with
Redacted.
class nerve agent. Approximately 2 minutes later, SCP-096 breached research site
Redacted.
and traveled
Redacted.
kilometers per hour through the outside desert, traveling...
Redacted.
Anything to add, Doctor?
Echo Romeo was assigned to immediate containment breach. When we realized just how big a breach we were dealing with, we were completely overwhelmed. Funny how even the best and brightest minds in the world can be so unprepared.
So you are saying it is your own fault?
Absolutely not. This was a new discovery in SCP-096's behavior. We had no way to know, and we are lucky it did not turn into an XK.
Continue with the presentation, please.
Helm cam footage from Echo Romeo 1. Begin log. Footage from inside a UH-60 Blackhawk helicopter shows SCP-096 on the desert floor, moving at considerable speed.
This is Echo Romeo Actual. We have visual on the target. Traveling at
Data expunged.
and increasing.
That is Dr. Dan relaying orders to Echo Romeo Actual, correct?
Yes, sir.
SCP-096 can be seen slowly gaining speed.
Copy, sir.
Echo Romeo Actual motions off camera. Echo Romeo 3 appears, holding a modified XM500 anti-material rifle. The first shot misses, and the second hits SCP-096 in the lower leg. SCP-096 stumbles, but recovers. Speed change is insignificant.
No effect on the target.
2 more shots miss, and a third hits SCP-096 in the head. SCP-096 falls, skids, and rolls several times, reducing its speed minimally. SCP-096 rolls to its feet and continues unabated.
Still no effect on the target. Moving to rendezvous.
Camera pans up to see 8 V-22 Ospreys, belonging to Mobile Task Force Tau-1, flying overhead and past the helicopters on the same outbound vector as SCP-096. End log. Video interview log 096-1A with Dr. Oleksy.
Redacted.
Begin log.
Where were you exactly at the time of breach, Doctor?
In the break room, getting a cup of coffee. It was pure luck I wasn't caught in the containment area.
Describe your actions directly after the containment breach.
I sent Echo Romeo after SCP-096 and alerted Dr. Dan to the situation. We then set upon the task of locating SCP-096-1. Once the general direction of SCP-096 was determined, I sent the Mobile Task Force Tau-1 ahead to evacuate civilian population centers in SCP-096's path, all according to containment protocol.
Video interview log 096-1B with Dr. Daniel Dan.
Redacted.
Begin log.
For the record, where were you exactly during SCP-096's containment breach?
In the
Data expunged.
mountain range, trying to find more information on SCP-096's origins. It was a quick research expedition, so I left Dr. Oleksy in charge of containment. He's competent enough, if a bit eager, and has proved himself in the past. This is all confirmed by the various related paperwork, so don't go thinking...
It was just for the record, Doctor. Now, knowing that SCP-096 is immune to all known forms of damage while in an enraged state, Why would you order the sniper attacks from the emergency response team?
Why not? If there was a chance to slow down SCP-096 and give MTF Tau 1 more time, then we had to try it. It put Echo Romeo in no danger, and the choppers were in danger of being outrun anyway. Honestly, Echo Romeo could do little else to help or harm the situation.
I see. Now, could you explain these goggles?
Yes. This is Project Scramble, an eyepiece we assigned to Echo Romeo and MTF Tau 1, designed by Dr. Oleksy and myself specifically for SCP-096. It carries a small microprocessor which constantly analyzes the viewing field for the facial features of SCP-096. Facial recognition software inside instantly identifies them, scrambling the image into an unrecognizable mess before the light reaches the human eye. It's quite ingenious, really.
And expensive.
Very. Which is why it's such a shame it didn't work.
Communication between Mobile Task Force Tau 1 and Modified EG-3 Sentry AWACS. Call sign Big Brother. Begin log.
Ospreys in the air. Moving.
Data expunged.
Awaiting vector.
Electronics online. Cruising altitude reached. Uploading program scramble to all camera systems. Cameras online. Big Brother is now watching.
What outbound vector is the target currently heading?
Target is currently westbound, traveling on... Shit. Yeah, it's on the I-40. I think it just flipped a semi. Outbound vector is...
Data expunged.
Next town on this vector is...
Data expunged.
I'd say a couple 100 kilometers. Shit. Tau 1, we are suggesting Echo Romeo begin evacuating the I-40. I don't know how many cars the target has wrecked.
Hold on. That's a negative, Big Brother. Echo Romeo is reporting that the target is outrunning her choppers. They can't get ahead of...
Then get them to stop the motorist on the other lane. I don't know how many people have seen this thing's face.
End log.
The first 3 elements of Tau 1 succeeded in gathering the townsfolk in the first 3 towns without incident. SCP-096-1 was confirmed to not be in any of these when SCP-096 ran through each in turn without stopping. However, a video log in MTF Tau 1 shows SCP-096-1 being identified in the town of
Data expunged.
And the ensuing incident.
Show it.
Helm cam footage from Element 4 of Mobile Task Force Tau 1 in the town of
Data expunged.
Begin log. Most of the townspeople are gathered in the square, all blindfolded. Helicopters sweep the town.
The target is entering the proximity zone. All units activate scramble gear and begin crowd control procedures. All civilians are not to move from their spot or remove their blindfolds. If you move or touch your blindfold, you will be shot. I repeat, all civilians are not to move or remove their...
Approximately 2 kilometers away, SCP-096 is seen cresting a hill. It tries to slow down on the descent, but trips and tumbles down at high speed, crashing through several houses before regaining its footing almost without delay. Several shots are fired, none of which are directed at SCP-096. SCP-096 stops for 1 second before running into the crowd of townsfolk, throwing many aside and trampling more. SCP-096 locates SCP-096-1, a middle-aged man, and SCP-096 grabs him before the camera is hit by a fleeing townsperson and is dislocated from the helmet.
End log. Video interview log 096-1C with Major Jack Wilford, current commander of Mobile Task Force Tau 1. Begin log.
I was looking through SCP-096-1's house with my squad. Poor bastard was a semi-pro mountaineer. Took a trip to the...
Redacted.
Apparently he took a snapshot of the landscape and just happened to catch SCP-096 in the background. 4 pixels. 4 fucking pixels. I doubt the guy even knew what he saw. He was probably just looking at the picture one day, noticed an off-color patch of snow, and went on with his day.
How did you find it?
Our scramble gear picked it up right away. The lieutenant got the picture and took it down to the chopper before I ever got to see it. By then the damn monster had taken down Big Brother and had peeled open the Major Striker. All hell was breaking loose.
So the scramble gear was ineffective?
Ineffective? The goddamn scramble were pieces of shit that killed the whole damn task force. You know only 3 people are alive besides me? All because some egghead thought of a state-of-the-art countermeasure to SCP-096's hostile reaction. Those bloody idiots could have just put a bag over the target's head and be done with it. But no, we had to use state-of-the-fucking-art scramble.
End log. Continuation of interview 096-1B.
What did that fucker call me? I'll show that goddamn son of a bitch what an egghead is after I bash open his fucking...
Do we need to administer a sedative, Doctor?
No. I apologize. Scramble was really an ingenious idea. However, it was a failure because we did not fully know how SCP-096 worked. You see, as the chip inside Scramble picked up SCP-096's facial features and began scrambling them, there was a split second of uninterrupted light flow to the retina. Computers are fast, but not as fast as light. So there was a split second image of SCP-096's direct face sent to the brain. It wasn't even consciously received, but apparently it was enough to trigger the hostile reaction in SCP-096.
So, with this report of the photograph...
That's the most disturbing part of this whole incident. You know when the former SCP-096-1 went on his mountain trip? 1990...
Redacted.
That's...
Redacted.
Years of that photo hanging there before he saw SCP-096. Since the brain doesn't need to be aware that it is viewing SCP-096's face to trigger the reaction, there can be ticking time bombs hidden literally anywhere in the world. How many photographs are out there containing SCP-096 just going unnoticed, waiting for a careful eye? As I said before, I want this thing terminated. Now.
End log.
Just a quick question, Doctor. What exactly were you planning on doing there? Major Jack Wilford was top-notch SBS when we recruited him.
I was also a recon corpsman, sir, and was deployed in the Caucasus. Marines beat SBS.
No, they don't.
Enough, both of you. Moving on.
Video interview log 096-1D with Chief Master Sergeant
Redacted.
Door Gunner under Echo Romeo. Begin log.
I got the bag over its head.
Yes, you've told me that. Could you tell me exactly what transpired?
It was done with all its... It was sitting there in the highway. Just got done ripping open a minivan.
And?
Wes landed the chopper. I got out and bagged it. I put the bag over its head. They got calm and they took it.
So the victims in the minivan were the last to have viewed SCP-096's face? Chief?
End log.
Chief Master Sergeant
Redacted
remained silent for the remainder of the interview and was released. He was later found in his bunk room, having committed suicide via hanging with a makeshift rope. A half-crushed pacifier was found in his fist.
Video log 096-1D. Confiscated tape from CNN news broadcast. Begin log.
The image shows first responders surrounding the remains of a crashed plane over the shoulder of a field reporter.
The plane, which seems to be military in origin, has no outward markings designating it as part of the U.S. military. While first responders look for a black box recording, it is thought by police that the plane crashed due to a massive cabin breach in both the cockpit and fuselage. Paramedics have only found 3 bodies, which is odd for a plane apparently requiring a crew of around 20 men. Police have suggested...
The reporter looks up, and the camera follows. 3 super stallions are shown hovering overhead, 2 of which land nearby and begin unloading troops belonging to Mobile Task Force Epsilon.
Sir? Excuse me, sir. Could you tell us what's happening here, sir?
Motherfucking...
End log. Continuation of interview 096-1A.
So, are we finished here?
One last question, Dr. Alexei. Or statement, as it seems. We find it interesting that there is no break room at research site.
Redacted.
Or coffee. We think it would be best if you begin talking.
I don't see what that has to do with me.
There's no reason to play dumb, Doctor. He's told us everything.
Well then, I guess there is no use feigning anything, is there?
Upon reviewing your testimony and available footage, and the confession of the late Dr. Alexei, it is the unanimous agreement of the O5 that you are to be terminated for your part in the gross breach of SCP-096.
And I thought you would know the meaning of for the greater good.
Do not try my patience, Doctor. Given the incident's scope and potential, the O5 have approved your request for the termination of SCP-096. Given the lack of personnel with understanding of SCP-096, the termination will be entrusted to you, under heavy guard and the personal supervision of me. Your own termination will be scheduled at a later date. Adjourned.
That is horrible, Doctor. How could you, knowingly?
It worked. There was only a matter of time until that happened in a major population center, and its face spread over the world news. I can kill 096. But I've killed myself in the process.
End log.
End of file. The SCP Foundation database is produced and narrated by Joshua Alan Lindsay. SCP-096, The Shy Guy, was written by Dr. Dan, and the adapted audio play was written by Joshua Alan Lindsay. The voice of Dr. Dan was Lee Daniel. The voice of the Complainant was Christian Jasper. The voice of SCP-096 was Jacquelyn Deshchidn. The voice of Captain Redacted was Lisa Hogan. The voice of D-9031 was Kendra Izzy Murray. The voice of the control booth operator was Spera Crinis. The voice of the technician was Oktober Crow. The voice of 051 was Joshua Alan Lindsay. The voice of 05 Redacted was Oktober Crow. The voice of the security team captain was Lee Daniel. The voice of Echo Romeo Actual was Edward Zimbelman. The voice of Dr. Alexei was Romeo Rosales Jr. The voice of the MTF Tau 1 operative was Martin Taylor. The voice of Big Brother was Brittany Carlton. The unknown voice over loudspeaker was Romeo Rosales Jr. The voice of Major Jack Wilford was Joshua Alan Lindsay. The voice of Chief Master Sergeant Redacted was Breck Willite. The voice of the reporter was Angela Gimlin. The voice of the MTF Epsilon 1 operative was Russell Forbes. And the voice of the junior researcher was Christina Pierce-Tomlin. Support for the database is solely provided by our patrons on Patreon. Please consider supporting the show at patreon.com/the SCP Foundation database to gain access to exclusive benefits, including bonus content, joke SCPs, merch, the ability to request episodes, and an invite to our private Discord server. If you enjoy the database, consider leaving a rating or review, and stay connected by following any of our social media profiles. Links can be found in the episode description.